speaking of coaching school, we were at a Texas Tech social, Mike Craven, for a couple of minutes, and we kind of hung around and saw Joey McGuire. If you get an invite from Joey McGuire, you got to go, right?
You got to go.
Doesn't matter what.
That's true.
And so, but after that social, he had to make kind of a quick trip back to Lubbock. And we later found out why, because he said it was something big. That's all he hinted at us, was something big for the program. Well, the Matador Club announced that they would be signing every single Texas Tech player to an NIL deal worth $25,000. 100 players for Texas Tech football.
That's absurd.
Mike Craven, where's this money been at for our whole lives for Texas Tech?
Yeah. I think we're starting to see how much they didn't like Matt Wells. You know what I mean? Like,
Very
That's a
true,
good point.
unfortunately.
it's like that program went into like dormancy for a while,
Yes.
like hibernation for a little while. And now that Joey's there and kind of going around shaking hands, kissing babies, doing the Joey McGuire thing, like they've remembered that oil is from West Texas and they have a lot of money, and it is a place that has 40,000 students at it right now. You know, it's a huge alumni base, a lot to pull from. I think this is tremendous, and it's a statement of intent from Texas Tech that we're not going anywhere, right? Like conference realignment can happen. All these things can happen. Y'all can act like the Big 12 is dead, but look what we're doing, right? This is $2.5 million.
Yeah.
Per season, right? And right now it's 1 year. I was talking to some guys at the Matador Club organization. They assume this is going to keep growing. You know, like this isn't going to be a 1 year thing. It may be 30,000, maybe 35, it may be 40. They want to get it to men's basketball and baseball pretty soon. Eventually, they see this thing as every single player at Texas Tech, women's, men's, paid sport, non-paid sport, is a part of this organization. I think we start seeing copycats of this everywhere, and it's a great recruiting tool for Joey McGuire. It's a great recruiting tool for the guys on the team.
Yeah.
Right? In the era of the transfer portal, why are you leaving now?
Right.
You know, if you got $25,000 plus your scholarship, now all of a sudden you're at market value. And people like me who have always been arguing for players to get paid, you know, weren't arguing for them to get paid millions of dollars.
Right, no.
It was just
Their
for
worth.
them, right, for them to just get paid market value the rest of the way the rest of us do. And if you add $25,000 onto the scholarship and the housing and all that kind of stuff, now they got pocket money. Now they can go to the movies. Now they can go on vacation. Now they can do all the other things that we all want to do. And so, yeah, I think this is really big for Texas Tech, and it's one of those things that in 4 or 5 years, this is the norm.
Yeah. I was about to say, like, as anybody who works for a living, right? $25,000 is not life-changing money
Before
in terms-
taxes.
before taxes is not life-changing money in terms if you're looking at it as a salary, right? But if you're just a kid who just wants the basic necessities, right? If you walk up to anybody and just hand them $25,000, right? Not over the course of a year, but just like, here. That's changing money, right? That's immediately changes what you don't have to worry about. Oh, can I go home for the break? Can I do this? Can I do that? So much is taken off your plate.
Can my parents come to my game?
Right, exactly. Can you afford to bring them? Yeah, you can obviously just afford to bring them.
Does
Mom,
my
don't worry
brother
about it.
get new clothes before his 6th grade school year?
Exactly.
Like things like that that
parents
people don't
that
think
can't
about.
take PTO. Oh, don't worry about it. Yeah, miss that day, Mom. You're fine. I got you. Right. This is what we're talking about when it comes to these types of NIL deals. When it comes to just, again, this is more than pocket change. I don't want to like actually act like it's a small sum of money. This is a large sum of money. But overall, we were just wanting these guys to have like quality of life money, right? And obviously, on top of that, if you're somebody like a Taj Brooks that can maybe make some more money off his name, image, and likeness, then it turns into something else when you're adding on to that. And so that's overall, this is the spirit of what we wanted, right? And when you're at a place like Texas Tech, which clearly has money, now you're motivated to give it to the players, right? They just announced the end zone complex, which is great. I'm not saying, players love good facilities. If you want to be a top program, you should absolutely invest in facilities. But also, we see the spaceships that are at LSU and Oregon and all that. And so for so many years, that was the height of the investment in players, right? It was like, cool, you got a hot tub in your locker room. And it's like, all right, what happens when you leave?
Right.
Like,
it's like if your boss came to you and was like, yeah, no raises this year, but we're getting new chairs.
Right, exactly. And so all the players are watching this technology just like flare up around them. It's like, yeah, you got a PS5 now in the clubhouse. It's like, cool, I don't have a PS5 in my apartment. Like, I'm not going to be at the clubhouse all the time. So just things like that. This isn't millions of dollars. This isn't everybody making Bryce Young money, but it's just giving them that baseline saying, hey, we got you.
And
right?
it provides some equity.
Easily,
right? If you're the
easily.
backup guard, you're making as much as the quarterback, right, on this deal.
Sure,
Like you
right.
mentioned, You
Just
can go
right
get
now.
extra money and all this kind of stuff. but it provides a little equity, and it keeps Texas Tech from being in that recruiting NIL game.
Yeah.
Yes,
You know, where
yes.
it's like, is there going to be a guy who shows up to campus that's making more than like the starting left tackle? Well, now everybody's at $25K. That's your base kind of starting salary. And so, yeah, I think it's a very smart move. It's a good move, and it's one that in 5 years we look back on and we're like, oh, well, duh, that's how everybody's going to do it.
Right. As I mentioned before, we are at Conference USA Media Day. July 25th, a Monday, they announced the Conference USA projected polls from the media. And I don't think too surprisingly, UTSA picked to win. They're picked to go back-to-back. North Texas came in at 5th, UTEP at 6th, and Rice at 10th. Mike Craven, what was your takeaway? Were you surprised at all that UTSA was picked again? There are some pieces to replace on this team.
Yeah, I think UTSA, UAB are kind of the front runners there, so that was pretty obvious. I kind of thought it'd be a little bit closer, 14 first-place votes for UTSA, 8 for UAB. Western Kentucky still third, despite losing all that offensive production. I think kind of shows kind of where Conference USA is. There's a big drop, in my opinion, after UTSA and UAB. The thing I find most fascinating is the North Texas UTEP at 5-6, right? Like, I think those two teams are pretty even on paper. They play week 0 out in El Paso. Like, there's just going to be – it's hard – I don't want to sit here and act like we're going to learn a lot from an August 27th game.
Right.
But we're going to learn a lot. We're going to learn a decent amount from this August 27th
Just
game.
between those two teams,
Right.
yeah.
Between those two teams and what that middle of the pack is for Conference USA, like where that level is. Pretty much everything that I thought. I think Rice is going to be better than 10th. But I get why people wouldn't predict that until we see it on the field.
Yeah. I think one thing that was interesting to me, kind of looking at outside the Texas schools, I don't know what anybody can say about Western Kentucky right now. Right? You lose
Nothing
your
is
offensive coordinator,
certain.
you lose your quarterback, you lose your best receiver. Like, obviously Jared Dagey comes in, so he's going to be the guy now there. So, like, obviously they have FBS caliber talent, potentially probably that, like, lower Power 5 caliber talent even potentially in him. But I see that third place finish, and I'm like, oh, they were good. They were good last year, so I'm just going to kind of slot them that they'll figure it out this year. I don't know. I don't know how you can say that they're third and like UTEP is 6th and have any confidence in any of that 3 through 6. Like you mentioned, that middle, and then you want to add Charlotte, Middle Tennessee in there. I don't know, and what's potentially Sonny Cubby could do at La Tech. I don't know anything from like that 3 to 9 range.
Yeah, it really is like in tiers, right? There's
Sure.
the top 2 teams, and there's like 3 through 8, then there's 9 through 11.
Yeah.
Just kind of in that, or maybe even 8 through 11 with Middle Tennessee being in there. So, I think like what we saw with UTEP last year, the nice thing about about Conference USA is you can make a move up. You can go from 4 wins to 8 wins pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And so we'll see if Rice is able to make a UTEP similar jump this year. Because just from talking to that staff, they were all at coaching school, right? They're confident, know, and everybody feels pretty good this year. Like, you rarely do you get a coach that's like, yeah, we're going to stink.
Right.
But usually they'll pull some punches and be like, well, we don't know. We're going to have to see some things.
Yeah.
Some things are going to break this way. We're going to have to stay healthy. Rice like, no, we're good, guys.
Yeah.
Like, we're pretty good. And so we'll see if that translates onto the field in the fall.
Another poll that came out last week was the SEC media poll, and A&M picked 2nd in the West, unsurprisingly behind Alabama. But I'm kind of wondering, are you picking A&M over Arkansas and Ole Miss right now?
I'm not. Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine is not. Like, if you can tell me at the end of the year Texas A&M finishes 2nd in the West, I'm not too shocked.
Sure.
I mean, they got the talent to do it.
But heading in,
I need to see that passing game.
let's put it this way. So the SEC does something different than others. They actually have media members pick a SEC champion. Right. You had Alabama gets 158 votes, or Georgia picks 18, South Carolina 3, Vanderbilt 1, sure, whatever. A&M 1. Like, there was no votes for Arkansas or Ole Miss, which, again, if you talk about winning the offseason, hard to go against Ole Miss. If you talk about trajectory, Arkansas is pretty damn
or
well.
even
on a good
LSU,
track.
too.
Or even LSU. They've done some things, right? Ryan
Yeah.
Kelly's gotten
They've
pretty.
picked up a couple of good recruits recently,
exactly.
too.
So, like, I don't know what to expect from A&M.
I think that recruiting class has really clouded some people's judgment.
Yes.
Like,
That's
man,
fair.
they signed the best recruiting class of all time. Look how good things are going at A&M. And I agree with that to an extent.
Yeah.
Just not in 2022.
No,
Like
it's going to take some
2023
time.
2023, 2024, Texas A&M may win the SEC, much
Sure.
less finish 2nd in the West. Like, that's going to be a really good football team. But for me, I need to see what that passing game is like before I pick them to be 2nd in the West. You add in the Aeneas Smith off the field stuff. We'll see how that goes. I don't know who their quarterback is. Their best wide receiver is a true freshman.
Yeah.
You know, like, And that was true in the spring. He was their best wide receiver as soon as he stepped onto campus, and he should have still been in high school, right? So until that's true, until like they have weapons and a quarterback that's consistent, I don't know how you pick them over an Arkansas team that just continuously blows people away and overperforms what expectations are. Like KJ Jefferson's a legit quarterback. Like that dude's good. That Arkansas defense is really good. That linebacker core is good.
I
would pick
somebody like
Arkansas
Malik Hornsby. We've
West.
known about for a while.
Right.
Like, is he next in line to be their next guy after quarterback kind of limited them last year?
Jalen Catalon, Bumper Pool, like those guys. That defense is loaded.
Drew
and
Sanders.
so, yeah, Drew Sanders. I forgot that Drew Sanders is there at Arkansas now. So, yeah, I think Arkansas is being slept on, and if it was me, I'd have them second in the West.
So that'll do it for the media polls. We got media days that's going on right now. As we're recording, Big Ten media days going on, which I assume is just the commissioner Millie rocking on the grave of the Pac-12 or something. But, like I said, we'll be
The idea of a Midwesterner Millie rocking, is
I need that
hilarious.
footage.
Hilarious to me.
Anyway, like I said, we'll be providing you coverage with Conference USA Media Day over the next day, and I'm sure Craven will have some stuff up his sleeve as well when we get done.